Thank you for being here. I'm glad to see there's interest. I'm going to be talking about virtual reality as a marketing tool because I see it has a great potential to help skydiving businesses engage with potential customers, and I have two examples to share. I see that a VR rig can be used in two core processes for today's commercial drop zone: finding customers and training customers. Some of you may have seen my last PIA presentation in Reno in 2023 on VR as a training tool. Today I will focus on using VR technology as a marketing tool. But first, a little about me. I've been an AFF instructor since 2000. I'm a recuperating IT project manager, and I've been an evangelist for VR and skydiving, both military and civilian, since 2016. But marketing in skydiving is evolving because as businesses, we need to evolve to meet our primary customers where they are online and engage with them to spark interest. Social media rewards interesting, unique, relevant content. So I see a combination of various platforms and technologies are evolving. I feel generally skydiving businesses are more innovative. We find ways to do things better with less. Today I'm going to talk about the results of two VR marketing experiences by skydivers. One was the French Parachute Federation at the Paris Olympic Village during the recent Olympics. The other was with Mike Manthe from Skydive Suffolk. Mike, I see that you're here. Thank you, sir. Both experiments enabled potential customers to experience parachute flight in VR while sitting in a chair. First, here's a shot I took in the Paris Olympic Village. We were there for the last 2 days of the Olympics. From 10 a.m. to 7 p.m, we had a queue. We did about 220 VR jumps over those 2 days, which equates to one jump about every 3 minutes. We were busy. This is probably the best example of the engagement I mentioned. They know what a parachute is, they know what it does, and they are intrigued. To help you understand how we ran this VR attraction, we saw we needed to brief participants on what they needed to do. We produced a briefing map, which I will show you next. However, as you can see, they are learning by watching what someone else is doing. We also ran an accuracy competition. Canopy pilots could fly around the Eiffel Tower and score points by flying through the rings, then land on the target. However, what was interesting and a light bulb moment for me was that people started coming back and bringing their friends with them. And this is the briefing sheet that we produced. The white arrows represent the flight path of the canopy. We've got the 5 coloured rings of the Olympics flying around the Eiffel Tower and landing in front of it. We gave them a bit of wind to make it a little bit more challenging. What was another light bulb moment for me was that by trying to fly through the rings, they immediately became aware of the glide path of the canopy, how much they descended as they moved forward using different combinations of toggles with relation to the mild wind conditions. They also had a working altimeter, which some of them used. By the way, we spent quite a bit of time working out the positioning of these rings to deliver this challenge. For example, flying through the red ring, which was last, you had to do a hook turn to set yourself up for a final approach onto the target. The parachute that we used is what I consider a student beginner canopy, designed to provide new pilots with the best landing experience. And they learnt pretty quickly. Talib here scored a dead centre on his first jump. He's the only person in over 68,000 skydives landed using our VR software that scored a 0 that I know of. It got me excited because now I know it's possible. And I know now that he has started jumping. It was very enjoyable being part of the excitement that was generated. The French Parachute Federation were very impressed with the results. They've since commissioned us to help with a study of VR as a training and marketing tool. And this study will run over 2025 season, and I will share the results during my next PI presentation in 2027. What's really exciting about the study is that now we have an independent authority to verify what we have already discovered. And that's what I'm sharing with you now. On to the next experiment. Mike Manthe from Skydive Suffolk set up a VR rig in a tent at the Virginia Beach Air Show, which attracts about 300,000 people for the day. And Mike, I understand that you're going to be doing it again this year. You are? Yes. Thank you. So it worked. And Mike, you probably learned what works and what doesn't work. So you need a VR-ready PC and VR goggles, a footprint of about 6 feet by 6 feet, and a large screen TV, because you want to be able to have the people watching become engaged. Use hygienic wipes to keep the goggles clean between users. You also need an internet and can run this VR rig using just a hotspot from a cell phone. You need reliable power and a tent to reduce the amount of light, because VR headsets sync their hand controllers using ultraviolet light, which does not work well in direct sunlight. Have the users sit in a chair and anchor the toggles to bungees directly overhead to replicate toggle pressure. You also need an attendant that knows how to adjust the goggles to fit. Training takes 5 minutes so they can adjust, clean, and fit the goggles. We use the Quest 2 goggles in Paris because they can be easily adjusted to fit a wide variety of head sizes. Some people get a bit overwhelmed, so I found it good to stand behind them and guide their hands to ensure they got a soft landing. Your attendant is key to recognize what is needed on an individual basis to help users get an enjoyable experience. Now I'm going to look at the broader picture of VR as a technology in itself. We currently know that it's been used in aviation and military training. If you want to know more about this, you should go to the ITSEC conference, the industry conference for military simulation training. It's in Orlando in the first week of December each year. We also have sports and entertainment. If you want to learn more about this, you want to go to the International Association of Amusement Parks and Attractions. They have a conference in Orlando, usually the last week of November. Be warned, it is huge, taking up over 500,000 square feet of indoor space with thousands of vendors selling various attractions. This includes 300 to 400 different VR-related technology attractions, because VR is expanding rapidly in the attraction and entertainment industry for good reasons. So on to civilian skydiving, because we need to comprehend how are we going to meet the people we want to engage with. I see local community events and air shows are ideal, and to be able to partner with local charities. I've been working with a local charity by the name of Greystone, who serve families in our region who have autistic children. They hold a fundraiser at our drop zone every year where people do a tandem and get sponsored for it. There's also an ability for their people to be able to raise money for their charity and who don't want to jump by doing a VR jump. So now we can connect with the local community and allow them to have a unique experience. Think about where you are and who's in your local community in the surrounding 50-mile radius. And think, who would I approach to give them a unique, exciting experience? Because yes, we know flying a parachute is a unique and exciting experience. The technology is quite effective at replicating what's needed. However, you also have the ability for sponsorship activations. And the two key points that I see that you need to be able to ask yourself is, which brands do my customers follow, and why are they being followed? With the answers to those two questions, you've now got some information to approach a potential sponsor and engage with them in a conversation, because you want to be able to provide a measurable return on investment for that sponsor. So what influences feasibility? 3 aspects. First, cost versus benefits. The hardware costs approximately $4,000 to own the VR rig, and you can rent them for approximately $250 per day. Another cost is the answer to the question of what content do you want to put in VR. I see customized, familiar locations that are relevant to the users as part of the formula for success. So you need to be able to get your location built in VR. So plan on spending about $600 to get this content produced. You can also assess the value you will get by looking at your location in Google Earth to understand the experience a visitor will get when flying their parachute in that location. Finally, the cost and related benefits of practical methods for using VR to reach out and connect with the local community. As an industry, the skydiving sport strikes a good balance between innovation and tradition. It has to, because we've got lives at stake, but we also have a mantra of innovation. This tradition and innovation are something that will always have to be managed, and it'll be done by learning and sharing the results of various experiments. Open questions, something to think about. How can we balance this innovation and tradition? What considerations do I need to be able to use or take into place to explore VR-based initiatives? This includes how national associations and federations collect and share the community body of knowledge on utilizing VR in the skydiving industry. And finally, my sign-off. My contact details. I'm available for questions. Yes. I'm going to repeat the question. How many jumps can we do in an hour? In the Olympic Village, we did 10 jumps per hour with 2 attendants. I cannot speak French, so a friend stepped in to brief the new pilots before they fly, while I managed each pilot to fly and get the best experience possible. Yes, next question. I'm going to repeat the question. How much did we charge for the jumps? We didn't charge. The French Parachute Federation paid us to be there and to use our software. Yes, next question. Did you hang in a harness? No, we didn't. With approximately 4,000 VR jumps that I've personally witnessed, I believe sitting in a non-swiveling chair is the best option simply because it's easy and helps promote a higher rate of jumps per hour. We just used a pull-up frame, about $80 on Amazon, to connect the bungee toggles. We used a chair and a big screen TV. We used Quest 2 goggles, which perform flawlessly. Yes, next question. I'm going to repeat the question. How long does the equipment last? Great question. My comprehension is about 5 years to end of life. Yes, I can see it's going to possibly get shorter because hardware manufacturers want us to buy more of their rigs. Yes. Next question. I'm going to repeat the question. Do I have any data on marketing success of recruitment or getting individuals to jump? I'm sorry, no, I don't. I would love to have that information on how many jumps or how many people from the Paris Olympics ended up jumping. I know that Taleb, who scored a dead center on his first jump, did start jumping. But I feel that the study we're doing with the French Parachute Federation this year will provide data which can answer your question. Next question. Yes. I'll repeat the question. Do we attach the hand controllers to the bungees? Yes, we attach the hand controllers to the bungees. Any more questions? Okay. A significant advantage in using VR to complement existing training is that now instructors can use the technology to verify the student has learned. I've been using VR to help train my students where I work as an instructor. VR identifies the students who need additional training. Currently, we need a PC and goggles, but I see that eventually we're going to have to be able to dispense with the PC because the processing power will be available inside the unconnected goggles and not need the internet. Looking to the future and gaining insight into the technology now available and how it will evolve, I invite you to consider what will it be like 10 years from now? How will students find where to skydive? How much can they learn online before ever committing to a first jump course? Okay, finally, I have one tip. Here at the PIA, go to the Flight 1 booth and fly in their simulator. You're going to be blown away. And full disclosure, they're using our VR software. All right. Thanks for your attention, and I look forward to hearing from you in future. Thank you.